my game stays insanity. Lightning bolt hits the beat, another battery. Charge behind bars, I have no gravity. Rush out the lab, white coat to infinity. Saeed, aluminum junks with new chemistry. Followed by Buffy the Body and 2 Symphony. Some amenities for the energy of the ministry that independently is responsible for the divinity. Televangelists hand me the hammers and the manuscripts. Then I get to shooting and zooming like Los Angeles. Drop an ambulance like the candles and burn the cannabis. Your boy's a big trip, tell shorty to pack sandwiches. Couple flashlights, some water and gauze bandages. We going roaming with no one flown alone. It's not understood till I come back with computers for the hood. A 7 series and something sick with a throttle. Ugly on a strip like Rosie O'Donnell. Then vanish into a tunnel while angels singing soprano and clocks chasing my shadow. Cause we are tomorrow.
Said native New York hawk, the talk that we walk is sideways, raised in the maze. My aim when I came in the game was about change. Without doubt, watching the haters about face. The Brett Favre bars, your boys above par. Cut from a stitch in the cloth, this long lost. Switching off the switch in your back, switching me on. Switching on these Mitchell and S-men, chessmen, old vets and young rappers off of the bench can get it. Some main shots through fitteds with it, who benefited? With the pen we needed to get it over division. You're hoping that there's more like this one, although there isn't. My team leading the league, leaving receivers leaking. Receivers taking the beat and we beastin', 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 beastin'.
You ain't got to say it's a go. In my lane I won't follow. All I do is drop the volcano.
Gem of a gentleman, your measurement is minuscule. Mr. Primetime, shit on your shine. Clock cleaner, closed casket, this magnificent bastard will break your heart and enjoy it. Best get away and avoid it. Heat like a fire alarm with no battery. Yeti, crop circle psycho. Dr. Mengele Mike, bark riot, back the ball back as ball being cool as quills. Show shock the body, let's celebrate. It's a festival, so daring on decibels. Worry the whack week, too worried to speak. Amaze, spit amazing, amaze, so amazing. Y'all same old lame old volcano, holla back. Buzz like tendinitis on the mic, a touch like Midas. He's the brightest of the brightest, the right way all day. On your knees, you pray for the return. The abstract rap pack is back.
You ain't got to say it's a go. In my lane I won't follow. All I do is drop the volcano. You ain't got to say it's a go. In my lane I won't follow. All I do is drop the volcano.
Right, thanks for staying with us. Roy, I've got a quick one here. It's from the BBC site, and this is about Facebook. It's just an article that's been released today, and it's Facebook has denied that it's losing customers, saying it's pleased with growth. Figures from Facebook monitoring site Inside Facebook suggest that during May, Facebook lost 6 million users in the US and 100,000 in the UK. Anything you want to make a comment on in regards to that?
I haven't read any. I don't read so much onto Facebook. Even though I recognize it as a threat to people, it's not my area of expertise. So hopefully you'll be able to give us more information. But the first thing I think is, do they mean active users, or people actually deleting themselves, or deactivating accounts? Or?
Well, in typical BBC fashion, it doesn't seem to give any specifics or pin anything down in particular. Just
one thing they could do is to set a threshold on what involves or what constitutes an activity online, and then say, well, these people still have an account because Facebook makes it really hard to delete accounts. And they almost hide the option of doing so.
Because if I remember rightly, I think somebody mentioned this to me before. You can't delete it; you can only disable it, and then you can come back to it later on. And
no, you can delete that, but you have to to know the URL and paste it into the browser, because they deliberately make it hard. That's what I've read, because I know some people who did that. The thing that the BBC, well, you could say the BBC is just trying to make things a bit simpler, and as long as it provides access to the material, like if it's a research by a group, I suppose it could give a link to the paper or something like that.
Well, I mean, I personally don't have a Facebook account. I'm not sure, Roy, if you have one.
Oh, and I should mention, I wrote about it 3 times in the past week and a half or so. The BBC is really, really keen on promoting this notion that hackers are like these really malicious, nasty people. And it puts the words hackers in headlines, even though hacker isn't. You know what a hacker is, you know. Obviously, the being misused not just by the BBC, but the BBC is really going hard with this. Like 2 headlines at the same day put hackers, and even groups that don't do anything harmful, just basically accessing computers and of companies and saying your thing is unsafe, please patch this thing. They call them they basically describe them as something very evil. And I think their description was that any engagement in research is basically makes you a better person, and that's just the type of I should probably give an example. But the way and the phrases that I showed people pretty much convinced them that the BBC is not so interested in accuracy, and it was one of those. I think the name of the writer was Mike Ward or something like that. And I tend to know them by the names now. I know there is obviously Rory, and there is also what's her name, Maggie Shields, I think. And you kind of know their biases because some of them are friends of Microsoft and they're having lunch with Microsoft UK staff and things like that. And so you can kind of tell, who they hang out with and what they do and how they squeeze in all those phrases, all kinds of blows at Linux and, Linux is only secure because it doesn't have much market share. So I tend to kind of recognize the names now and look at the articles and I know what their convictions will be. So that's just the thing with the BBC is, as you say, I just find their coverage to be, it's probably very good coverage from the point of view of readability for, a person who, just wants to kind of know what's happening in tech and then goes to nature and politics and celebrities and things like that. But for a person to have a journal of record of things that happen in technology, it's just not very accurate. And it doesn't go very deep. It's very conformist with the main line, Apple versus Microsoft, and almost nothing else is allowed to even be considered as competition.
Well, as a nice sort of ending to that particular segment, this link just came through to me about an hour ago, and it's from our friend Gordon, who's doing very well. And it was a link to one of his articles on his site. Now, for context, I'll explain to the listeners. He wrote an article in 2009 about Linux-friendly companies, and like I say, this was in 2009. And recently, he's had a couple of comments by a user called allegedly Jenny Spencer, and these comments appeared on 13th of May 2011. And it's not so much the fact that this person has waited 2 years to make a remark on his site. It's more to do, I think this highlights very well the ignorance and, dare I say it, brainwashing that the average user has in respect of any computer system. Most people are brought up on Microsoft products. It starts off in the schools, it gets taken to the home, and they know no different. Now, whilst that in itself isn't a problem, the whole illusion of Microsoft products in that there is only one way to get online, there's only one way to make a Word document, a word processing document, there's only one way to do X, Y, Z. It puts people in the mindset that the only way you can do these things is with Microsoft or Microsoft affiliated products. And this is a comment, and I'm sure you won't mind me reading the comments out here. It was in relation, like I say, to Linux friendly companies, and this lady, Jenny, she's put, why on earth do you want to wipe Windows off your computer and replace it with Linux? Windows is much better than Linux. Also, a lot of ISPs will not support Linux operating system, which is a problem if you run into difficulties with your internet connection. Now, when you hear that, it's sort of indicative of the thing that I certainly like to try and get people forgetting about, because there is no difference from running Microsoft products or Linux or a Linux operating system in terms of what you can do. A lot of people often say to me, "Oh, can I still send email when I use Linux?" Well, of course you can. It's use an email client like everybody else, probably the one that they have on a Windows operating system. I know a lot of people use Thunderbird, which obviously is a very popular package on Linux. Anyway, Gordon made a reply, and I think you can get the sort of general idea of what was said back. And she's actually put then as a response, what, no viruses on Linux, don't make me laugh. My brother used Ubuntu and he was infected with a virus and had to reinstall his entire system. When I tried Linux, it just froze and crashed my whole computer. Linux is a waste of space, stick with Windows.
Crash the computer.
Yes.
That's, yeah.
Now, there's a couple of strange things. Firstly, I'm sure
about the term crash the computer, and I'm